Carlos Correa has been absolutely mashing since heading back to Houston, and Atlanta has a very bright future ahead of them with young players Drake Baldwin and Hurston Waldrep leading the charge with a great week last week. So we need to consider adding these players and more heading into week 21 on this action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino, riding solo today. As you can see if you're watching on YouTube, and if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It's going to subscribe you to the channel and give you notification every time we drop a new episode. Or if you're listening on the audio side of things, once again, please make sure you subscribe. And if you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you do that for us as well. And lastly, and what's going to help you win your fantasy baseball league is joining Matt and I on the Insider's Track. Guys, I know I've been saying it a lot. Fantasy football season is right around the corner. Might be tuning out baseball a little bit to lock in on football, but you know what? That's why you join Matt and I on the Insider's Track, because you're going to get text message alerts going right to your phone, offering so much more than we can in these 30-minute episodes. And guess what? Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is once again right around the corner, as I said earlier. So visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. All right, guys, let's get into it. I want to just get into these names because, you know what, got a lot of great names today. Want to make sure we get through them all. Let's start with Carlos Correa. Talked about it at the top. Correa has been on fire since heading back to Houston, and even today, as I'm recording here on, August 10th, Sunday, a home run, 2 for 5, 2 runs, an RBI. His last 5 games have all been multi-hit efforts, including a 3 for 5 game on August 6th. Had an RBI in that one, has had an RBI in 4 straight games. Correa has just been absolutely mashing, hitting over 280 now, 9 homers. Numbers are just starting to look really, really good on the year for Correa, and just being back where, he's played most of his career in Houston, rejuvenated. He's used over there. It's not like a normal player going to a new team or even a team they played for before, just because Correa has so much history with the Astros. As a Yankee fan, don't love most of that history. But, here nor there, I put the bias away when it comes to fantasy baseball, right? Because at the end of the day, we all want to win. I want to help you guys win. Correa is up to 44% owned. He's up 16% over the weekend. So if he's still out there in your league, I know I personally added him in a couple of spots. I said, you know what? It's worth it right now. Ride the hot hand of Correa while you can. We know what he can do. There's a little bit of power in the bat. He's not going to steal bases. He hits for batting average. The runs and the RBI should be good. They've been moving him around the top of this lineup since he's been back over there. He's hit cleanup, which is the 4-hole. He's hit leadoff, and he's hit second. So no matter what, and I think he's even hit third once. Okay, so he's literally hit in every the spot in the top 4 of the lineup since going back to Houston. Must add. Absolutely going to be a big plus in the batting average. Like I said, the counting stats are going to be nice. The power, if he hits you a 20 home run pace the rest of the way, not 20 home runs the rest of the way, but gives you that kind of pace the rest of the way, that's kind of what I'm expecting. But Carlos Correa, love what he's doing since he's been back in Houston. And even if you look at the underlying stuff for the whole year, batting average was what they expected. If you look at something they put in the metrics there, what they expect the batting average to be rather than what it is right now, a 296 expected batting average. Love that for Correa. Everything that he brings to the table, the average exit velocity looks good, hard hit rate looks good, bat speed. He's not chasing. He's not whiffing a lot, chasing a little bit too much, but not whiffing a lot, not striking out a crazy amount. Just love what Correa brings to the table right now, especially love the spot for him back in Houston in that really, really good lineup over there. But let's keep things moving. Let's move on to one of the young breakout stars of the season. It's Drake Baldwin, catcher for those Atlanta Braves. You gotta love what the kid's doing. 289 batting average over 86 games played, 31 runs, 13 homers, 51 RBIs. And then across the doubleheader on August 9th, went 4 for 9, 2 runs, 5 RBIs. He's playing pretty consistently. Like, I don't want to say every day, especially since Ozuna has been getting that back going again. So if he plays 5 out of the 7 days of the week, you're still going to love that at the catcher position. I know there's a wealth at the catcher position this year. We didn't expect it coming in, but it's been a nice benefit. But if you play in a 2-catcher league, Baldwin's still only 23% owned on Yahoo. He might be out there in some of those NL onlys. I bet you Baldwin's out there. If you play in a 15 or deeper, Baldwin definitely love what he's been doing of late. Kid's just been absolutely mashing. The RBI numbers have been absolutely bonkers with the 51 RBIs in 86 games played. The home run numbers have been coming up a little bit of late. That 2-homer game on August 7th was awesome for Drake Baldwin, where he went 3 for 5 with those 2 homers I mentioned and 5 RBIs. So the kid's getting it done right now. So I don't think if you need the catcher and he's out there, you should hesitate. That's kind of almost like a must-add. Drake Baldwin's going to be somebody who's interesting for next year, even with all of these catchers that have come, out of the woodwork this season. I still think Baldwin's going to find himself into at least my top 12, if maybe it finds a way in the top 10. Because even look at the underlying stuff with Baldwin is amazing. Batting average, which we just talked about earlier with Correa, for Baldwin, it's 294. The power stuff looks good when you're talking about average exit velocity. He barrels up the ball well, the hard hit rate, the bat speed. Another guy that doesn't whiff or strike out too much. So Drake Baldwin at 24 years old, bright future ahead here in Atlanta, my personal opinion. Another guy, like I said, not a must-add in every situation. 15s, NL onlys, stuff, 2-catcher leagues. That's where I'm prioritizing Baldwin. But hey, man, any spot, once again, where you can go and use a guy like this on your team. Love what he can do, and I believe it's all legitimate. So should go out there and snag him. Let's move on to sneak one more guy in here. Let's talk about Ezequiel Tovar again. Come on, guys. We got to get this ownership percentage up. I told you, I think he's been a darling of the show of late, just because I want to say right before he came back from the injury, I made a statement. I said Tovar is either going to come back and the injury is going to hamper him and he's going to be a value going into fantasy next year, 2026 season, or he's going to come back and he's just going to be a dog the rest of the way and he's going to help us win some fantasy baseball championships. And Tovar's been doing really, really well of late. Tovar, I'll give you the whole season numbers. We'll talk about what he's been doing of late in a sec. 50 games played on the season, 274 batting average, 27 runs, 6 homers, 20 RBIs, 4 steals. You love the home run and steal pace. The counting stats are mediocre because of the team context there in Colorado. But let's talk about what he's been doing of late. Here on Sunday, as I'm recording, Tovar went 3 for 4 with 2 runs. Saturday, August 9th, Tovar went 2 for 4, a steal, a run, and an RBI. On August 6th, he went 2 for 4 with an RBI. August 4th, he went 2 for 3 with an RBI. So Tovar's just been on an absolute tear. If you don't know much about him, he has a lot more pop than we expected. He's growing into it as he's getting a little bit older. The speed is I don't think he's run to the capability that he can. I don't think Colorado has let him. The kid's got 25 plus steal kind of speed. The batting average is something that's going to play there in Colorado for Tovar. He's 47% owned on Yahoo. Still way too underly owned. I know a lot, like I said, a lot of us are transitioning to football. A lot more people have kind of, determined their fate for the fantasy baseball season. But I think if we're out there and playing and Tovar is out there, we got to go and snag him. He knows how to find the sweet spot. Expected batting average for Tovar is 301. The speed is the 53rd percentile, but I think that has more to do with his injuries than actually, how quick the kid is at 24. Bright future ahead here for Tovar, right? Before we move on and talk about Tovar's teammate, Brenton Doyle, and then we got, like I said, Hurston Waldrep in the pitching. I got a couple of closers for you. So those players and more coming up next. And all right, guys, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Game Day Hue. Today's episode is once again brought to you by Game Day Hue and their perfectly designed hats. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works for you on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. Me personally, I love rocking it on the course because it's subtle, stylish, and I can still rep my team. The hat pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team logo stuff like jerseys, sweaters, or anything else. It just adds to the lineup. I've worn mine to tailgates, tea times, and just out running errands, and I always get compliments on it, because the gear is just amazing. And guess what? It's not just the hats. They also have split shade gloves made for the golf course or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with the code MLB15 at GameDay.com. That's GameDay, HUE.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. And all right, guys, before we jump back in, just want to talk about the insider track one more time. Because as we get into football season, it's tough to keep track with football, baseball, and everything else. So let the insiders track be your little cheat code. Matt and I are going to give you those text message notifications going right to your, cell phone. Nobody else in the industry is offering that, like instant prospect qualifications. We still got players like Bubba Chandler, Kevin McConaughey coming through the pipeline, so you're going to want to know when they get called up. And then when we do these episodes, our waiver wire episodes, we're going to rank these guys for you and tell you how you should prioritize them when you're picking them up. So give Matt and I the chance on the insiders track. The link is in the bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. But all right, guys, let's keep things pushing here. Let's talk about this next guy. I mentioned him before. It is Brenton Doyle of those Colorado Rockies. And listen, Doyle was a very high-end draft pick coming into the season. I personally wasn't buying into it. I figured he'd be useful, but I wasn't buying. I believe it was like a top 20 outfielder price, top 25 outfielder price for him. So it just wasn't for me. He's been heating up of late. He plays in cores. He was dealing with injury a little bit here and there. Still dealing with a little bit of a platooning. So, not for everybody, right? But Doyle, especially over his last two games, he's homered in them both on Sunday and Saturday. As I record here on Sunday, went 2 for 4 in each of those games. Same line, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, and 1 run. And then if you look back on August 1st, he went 4 for 5, homered, 3 runs, 2 RBIs. He's 49% owned. Brenton Doyle is. Kind of leaves a little bit of room in, some of those leagues where, listen, we could play Doyle when he's at home. You don't have to have him out there every day. He could be a bench player at this point. We're not picking him up. You're not paying the price that you did on draft day. It's just, hey, easy pickup, and then look, even over the last 14 days for Brenton Doyle, it's a .353 batting average, over 34 at bats, 6 runs, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. So the guy's been on fire. I don't think he's a league winner, but like I said, we could just pick him up, play him when he's in cores. You kind of mix in, mix and match the matchups. Apologize, that was a little bit of a tongue twister there. But Doyle's also home from August 14th through August 21st, and I'm sure he'll play most of those games. Not much else to really be said here. He's got some pop in his bat. If you're not familiar with Doyle, he's got a little pop in his bat. He's quick. He can steal some bases here and there. He's been hitting 6th and 7th in this Rockies lineup, so I don't expect too much counting stats, but I don't think they're going to be horrible. I think he could drive in some runs, also score a few as well. Once again, Brenton Doyle, outfielder for those Colorado Rockies, 49% owned on Yahoo. If you don't like Doyle, got another outfielder for you here. Let's talk about some Jurickson Profar. He's been tricky this year, right? Dealt with the suspension, dealt with injury. Just been a lot going on for Profar. He's back in the leadoff spot. He's been hitting a bit. Over, his last few games heating up on Sunday here as I record, August 10th. 2 for 5, 2 runs, an RBI for Profar. Scored 3 runs across the doubleheader on August 9th. Went 1 for 5, though. Homered on August 8th, 1 for 3. Also stole a base in that game. Homered on August 6th and August 4th. Went 2 for 5 on August 2nd. So Profar finding his footing after dealing with, multiple different things going on with him. But overall, 37 games played on the year, 6 homers, 3 steals, 25 runs, not bad. Not loving the 233 batting average and the 14 RBIs, but if, Profar's leading off, we're not going to be counting on him for a big number of RBIs. But we love the 25 runs through 37 games. Like I said, the power and the speed's been there for him. He's heating back up. I'll give you the exact totals over the last, let's do the last week here for Profar. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. 3 home runs, 8 runs, 3 RBIs, a steal, 238 batting average. You're not picking Profar up and counting on him to have a great batting average. He can do it in doses. He's not somebody who's super consistent. So I like what he brings to the table. He's less owned than Doyle, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably like Doyle for the stretch while he's in Coors, but if I just needed somebody on a day-to-day basis, I would lean Profar, especially because I know the counting stats, especially the runs, are going to be better for Profar over a guy like Doyle, right? So with that being said, let's get into the pitching. Let's get into the pitching half of this episode. I got a lot of good names lined up. Let's do it. Let's start with maybe the most intriguing to me anyway. Let's talk about Jacob Lopez of the Athletics. He's been, he's been interesting all year. Has had a lot of ups and downs, especially when he first got called up. And Lopez was really, really good in the minors as well. But he started to get figured out. It's been 14 starts on the year. His first start, I believe, was on the 23rd of May. 7 innings, 8 strikeouts against the Phillies, held him to 1 run, 0.57 whip. Got rocked against Toronto, but then he rocked against Toronto and Minnesota, even though he did strike out 9 against Minnesota in his third start. Then Lopez went off a run of 1, 2, 3, 4 starts that were fantastic, including 2 9-strikeout efforts, one of which was against Houston. Followed the Houston start up with a monster start against Detroit, where he struck out 6 over 7 innings. Got rocked by Tampa, his former team. Got rocked by San Fran. Had a little bit of a turnaround comeback start against Toronto. Texas hit him hard on July 21st. But his last 3 starts have been really good for Jacob Lopez, including the last one where he went 7.2 innings, struck out 10, no earned runs, 0.39 whip against Washington. Not a great team, but, they can be tricky on any given night with James Wood, CJ Abrams, and them boys over there. They can go out there and do it on any given night. So to go out there and put that kind of performance up, really good. Now here's the test. His next start is Tuesday, August 12th against Tampa. His former team, who did hit him hard in his, in the start on June 30th. So that one's not guaranteed, but I really like what Lopez brings to the table. Look at his numbers on the whole season: 14 starts, 5 wins, 3.59 ERA, 1.25 whip, 77 innings, 94 strikeouts. And Lopez has the kind of stuff, if he can really just get the control together, I think he can be, I don't want to say, let's say like a top 40-ish starting pitcher, right? He's a big dude, 6'4", 220, gets good extension. He doesn't really get hit too hard, but a lot of it gets hit in the air, which he, got to figure out. He gets a lot of strikeouts, obviously, a lot of whiffs. Batters don't really see the ball very well out of his hand. A fastball isn't blowing you away, but he still gets good results with it. He sits around 91, but batters only hitting 213 against the fastball. It shows, how deceptive it can be. His slider, a secondary pitch, great wipeout, a 196 against that. His cutter, which he throws 14% of the times, getting hit 317 against that. So maybe mix out the cutter a little bit less. The changeup, he's getting good results with that. Also throws that 14% of the time. I think there's a really good pitcher in here somewhere if he can find the consistency. Once again, Jacob Lopez of the Athletics is who I'm talking about here. 29% owned on Yahoo. I kind of want to look at the opponents after Tampa for Lopez, because I'll say this: if you're in a shallower league, I'm not running to the waiver wire to pick him up, because the start isn't ideal. It's his former team. Tampa's very good at scouting. It looks like he gets Minnesota after. So even if you want to bite the bullet on the Tampa Bay start, it looks like 1, 2, 3. It looks like Lopez's next start after Tampa will be August 19th against the depleted Minnesota team. So at least add Lopez with the perspective his start after will be pretty strong. Before we move on and we talk about Michael Wacha, Hurston Waldrep, who's been impressive so far, and then a couple of closers in Calvin Faulcher and Jose Ferrer, those names coming up next. And all right, I want to talk to you guys about my friends over at FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for the bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ, before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. And guys, FanDuel is always so good when it comes to football. I personally love using them. I know Matt does as well. So you know what you need to do, guys. You just take that flyer, on the MVP race or crown your champion in August, or you can even parlay your division winner dark horses, right? There's so many different options when it comes to FanDuel. So visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. And all right, guys, let's keep things pushing here. Let's talk about Michael Wacha. He's just been inconsistently consistent. I know it's a conundrum, but he has been. It's like 5 starts of goodness, 5 starts of badness. It's just a lot of good and a lot of bad in bunches, but the good has been very good of late. His last 5 starts, Wacha has been very, very impressive with very good starts against the Mets, against that Miami team who's actually been pretty hot of late, Toronto, who's been awesome, against to Michael Wacha against Toronto on August 1st. He went 8 innings, got the win, 5 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 0.38 whip. When Wacha has that control working, he's one of the better pitchers in baseball, to be honest with you guys. Numbers on the year aren't really that bad for Wacha. 23 starts in the season, 6 wins, 3.36 ERA, 1.15 whip, 131 innings pitched, 98 strikeouts. And Wacha's still only 46% owned on Yahoo. He gets that Washington Nationals team I was talking about earlier on Tuesday. Like I said, any given night, James Wood, CJ Abrams, them boys can hit. But I think Wacha can handle them, man. Wacha, like I said, last 5 starts, the control's been pinpoint. Even some, nice little strikeout games in there. 3-5 strikeout games. That's pretty good for Wacha. I mean, he's not blowing them away, but, still giving you something in the strikeout department. I like Wacha. I don't see why he's not 75, 80% owned at this point in the season. I understand everybody's tuning it out, but Wacha's been pretty good for the whole season. And then even after this Washington start, he might get the White Sox, it looks like. If it's not the White Sox, it's the Texas Rangers, who are obviously better than the White Sox, but still a team that I'm not super, super scared of. I mean, they got a couple of bats over there, obviously, with Langford, Doyle Garcia, all them boys over there. They can go out there and hit too. Marcus Semien. So I like the matchups there for Wacha. Definitely should be way higherly owned than he is. I think he'll be very, very consistently inconsistent down the stretch. So we kind of just got to keep up with the ebbs and flows of a guy like Wacha. Let's move on to this next guy. I'm actually excited to talk about him. I don't think I've talked about him at all on this podcast this year. It's Hurston Waldrep of the Atlanta Braves. He's a starting pitcher. Was a pretty high-end prospect, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years ago. Kind of has fallen from grace since then. But he's been really, really good in his first 2 starts here in the bigs, man. 1.54 ERA, has won 2 games, 0.86 whip, 11 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts. And his last start against that hot Miami Marlins team on August 9th, 6 innings, got the win, 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 0.83 whip. I think they got to give him another one, man. I don't see why he wouldn't be, unless they got a couple of injuries here with Sale. We'll see when he's ready to return. But why not let the young kid just go out there and shine? Kind of want to see who his next opponent would be. I'll say this, in your deeper leagues where prospects matter, go out there and snag them. 15s or deeper, NL onlys, yes. anything deeper than that, let's just make sure he's guaranteed this next start. I don't think it's guaranteed or locked in. I haven't seen that myself. But let's see who it would be. August 9th, 10th. It looks like maybe the Mets or the Guardians. Would prefer that Guardians matchup. But, the Mets are they're almost like the Nationals. It's almost like at any given night they go out there and hit you. Alonso, Soto, Lindor, them boys, Nimmo and that team. They can do it, but the Mets haven't been super consistent this year. And you want to take a shot on a guy like Waldrep who, has had success in the minors, a little bit of prospect pedigree down there. Wasn't super successful, if I remember correctly, in the minors this year. I know he was struggling a little bit. Just want to fact check myself as I say that. I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that one, though. AAA down in the minors this year for Waldrep. 4.42 ERA. That was 19 starts, 91 innings, 92 strikeouts, 1.47 WHIP. So it wasn't very successful, this year in the minors. But look back at 2024 for Waldrep: 19 starts, 3.66 ERA, 93 innings, 97 strikeouts. WHIP was a little bit higher at 1.47. So the kid can strike guys out. Good at suppressing runs. The Atlanta team, he'll win some games. 11% owned for Waldrep. Like I said, more of a deeper league play here, for you guys that are still locked in at this time. NL onlys, 15s, stuff like that, deeper. Any league where prospects, dynasty guys matter, I'd add Waldrep there. Anywhere else, we're probably going to hold off and just see if he's guaranteed that next start. If he's guaranteed that next start against Cleveland, I'd say your 12-man leagues, we're going to go out there and add Waldrep just because he's been successful so far. We kind of want to see how the league's going to adjust to him. But let's move on. Got a couple of closers for you guys before we head out. Let's talk about Calvin Faulcher of those Miami Marlins. We talked about him a little bit recently, but he's still only 31% owned. He's closing. He's closing there. Miami got the saves on July 30th and August 2nd. I don't think they've had a save opportunity since then. No, they haven't. Calvin Faulcher on the season, 47 appearances, 3 wins, 11 saves, 3.48 ERA, 1.36 WHIP, 44 innings pitched, 43 strikeouts. He's been solid. Don't love the guy, but I know if you missed out on all the closer shenanigans from the trade deadline, if you missed out on the Dennis Santanas, who else? What's the kid's name for the closing for San Fran right now? I think it's something Rodriguez, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. Please forgive me. I think it's Randy Rodriguez, if I remember correctly. I got to fact check myself on that one. Is that the kids? Yes, Randy Rodriguez got it right. Yeah, Randy Rodriguez of the San Francisco Giants and more. If you got caught up in any of the Yankee shenanigans, Calvin Faulcher's still out there, so you can go his way. If you missed out on Faulcher, I got one more for you. It's Jose A. Ferrer of those Washington Nationals. Kyle Finnegan leaves, and he's actually closing now in Detroit. So Jose Ferrer is the next guy up. Hasn't been great on the year either, but like I said, got the last save opportunity and nailed it down for the Nationals on August 9th. 1.2 innings, got the save, strikeout, no earned runs, 1.2 WHIP in that one. On the season, Jose A. Ferrer, 54 appearances, 3 wins. That was his first save. The aforementioned one. 4.79 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, 56 innings, 48 strikeouts. Listen, Ferrier's a name. Not in love with it. Once again, you need saves. He'll grab you one every now and again. But at this point in the season, it's tough. You probably should have grabbed a couple of those guys that were out there when everyone got traded at the trade deadline. Listen, I've been struggling too with saves in certain leagues. I picked up Faulcher myself in a couple of spots. But guys, that is going to be all for today. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. And guys, until next time, see ya.